Hello friends, myself Dr. M.K. Gopru, Department Mathematics, Government College. Up till now, we have discussed theorems about subgroups and proved some of them, and let's me to prove the remaining one today. So, till now we have proved Lagrange's theorem, order of each subgroup of a finite group. It is a finite group. Order of each subgroup of a finite group is a divisor of the order of the group. Means order of H subgroup, order of H divides subgroup of a finite group is a divisor of the order of the group. Means order of H divides order of G, and it will be something like n, say it is an integer. Or then prove corollary, order of every element. Here we prove about subgroup, and here we prove order of every element of a finite group is a divisor of the order of the group. Instead of subgroup, here we take every element. Means every element of a finite group, order of every element of a finite group is a divisor of order of group. Say A is an element, then order of A divides order of G. With the help of this theorem, we prove this one. If A is an element, if A is an element of a finite group of G of order n, A is any arbitrary element of the group, finite group. Here group is finite, means having some order, is of order n, and this finite group is of order n. Then A raised to the power n will be equal to identity, means nth power of every element of a finite group will give us identity. This was the theorem. Then I prove finite group of prime order does not have any proper subgroup. Finite group of prime order. Prime order means prime number is the number which have factor 1 and itself only, no other factors. So finite group of prime order does not have any proper subgroup. Means there will be no proper subgroup if a group having order say 3, 5, 7, 11, this such type of groups which are of the order of prime order. Then we prove converse of Lagrange's theorem is not always true, and they type proved with the help of permutation group factorial 4 P4 having factorial 4 permutations, means 24 permutation. Out of these 24, 12 are even and 12 are odd. So this is the group of even permutations. This was the group, but there is no subgroup of order 6. Means even 6 is a divisor of 12, but no proper subgroup exists there. Now we define index of a subgroup means number of right or left cosets. Number of right or left coset regarding to a subgroup H of a group G is known as the index of a subgroup. Means number of right cosets, number of left cosets with respect to a subgroup, means this is a subgroup H, G is a group, then cosets regarding to H say A is the element of G, then coset, right coset is HA and left coset is AH. And such that if B is the element, another coset is HB or BH. So with respect to all these number elements, we have some cosets A, H, A, H, B, H, C, etc. And so after some time, suppose D is here, then HD will be equal to H, we have proved. HD will be equal to H, we already proved it. So number of distinct right of or left coset with respect to this H or with respect to this group G will be known as index of subgroup that we have defined. Later on, we prove that every subgroup of a cyclic group is cyclic group. Means if a cyclic group means generated by an element. Every subgroup of a cyclic group means we have a cyclic group G generated by A, then its subgroup. Every subgroup of a cyclic group is cyclic, that we prove. Every proper subgroup of infinite cyclic group is always infinite. With the contradiction, we proved this theorem last time in my last lecture. And if G, this was the last theorem that I proved. If G is generated by A is a cyclic group of order n. We are given a cyclic group G of order n and it is generated by A. And H is generated by AS. Means element is same but having different power. H is generated by AS, then H is a cyclic subgroup of G. This H will be a cyclic subgroup of G, and order of H will be n by D, where D is HCF of n and S. N and S. D is HCF. If n and S are prime, co-prime, n and s are co-prime, then naturally order will be n. That we have proved through an example. We have taken a 14 element, a group of 14 elements, and we proved practically as well as theoretical also. Today I am going to discuss 2 or 3 theorems for important results. The first one is 2 and 3 important results. The first one, if A is a cyclic group of order generated by G is a, let me do write directly. G is a group generated by A. Is a cyclic group, naturally generated by an element. It is a cyclic group. A is a cyclic group. If a cyclic group generated by an element A is of order n, means order of G is equal to n. It is given. A raised to the power n will be identity. Naturally, A raised to the power n is identity. This is our. We use the earlier theorem that A is an element and order of the group is n, then nth power of any element gives us identity. This was the theorem. So we are given group, a cyclic group generated by A, and order of this group is n. Order of this group is n. Then AM generates, then is of order n, then A raised to power m is also generator of, then A raised to the power n also generates G if m and n are co-prime. M and n are co-prime. M and n are 4. What is the theorem? G is a cyclic group generated by A and its order is n. G is also generated by A raised to the power n, and n is co-prime to n. Means practically we may see this theorem H. If G is a group having these n elements 1, A2, A3, A8. Naturally, A8 is equal to I with the operation of multiplication. So, this is a cyclic group. Order of G is 8. Order of G is 8. Means here n is 8. A raised to the power n, A raised to the power 8 is equal to identity. Now, A is the generator of G. From here, from this theorem, we can see that A cube, A5, A7 are also generator of this group. How? Let me do write A cube, A6, A9, A12, A15, A18, A21, A24, else. All you see. There may be some other elements, but A27, A20, 30, else. Let me to try. This is multiplication modulo 8. So A cube, A6 are the straightforward elements. A9 means A8 is equal to identity A. A12 means A4. A15 means A7. A18 means A square. A21 A5 and A24 means A identity. A24 means A8 into 3 A identity. Having A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 elements. So again A square, A cube, A4, A5, A6, A7, and A8 is equal to identity. Every element is there. Order of this is nothing but G itself. So A cube is the generator, which is prime. 3 is prime to 8. A5 means A5, A10, A15, A20, A25, A25, A30, A31, 35, and A40 as A5 is straightforward. A10 means A8 into A square, so it is A square. A15 means A raised to the power 7. A20, 4, A raised to the power 4. A25 means A. A30 means A6. A35 means A3. A40 means I. Again, we can see this is the same group G. This is the same group G. A square, A cube, A4, A5, A6, A7 and identity. This is the same group. And similarly A7, so A7, A14, A21, A7 identity, 8 A8 hence identity, 8 and 6 A raised to the power 6, A5, A4, A P into A and I. Again, this is the same group G generated by A7. Generated by A7. So A7 is generator, A5 is generator, A cube is generator. Means every member, every prime number to A gives us the same group again. So this is the theorem. Practically, we can say we can find generators of G if we are given A is already generator, A cube is generator, A5 is generator, A7 is generator, and A8 means identity itself. So we can find the other generators. If we are given one generator, then we can find other generator with the help of this theorem. So practically, what is the theorem? How we can prove it? Theoretically, how we can prove, since M and N are co-prime, so HCF of M and N is equal to 1. Since from our knowledge of number theory, this I can write, there exists integer x and y such that nx plus ny is equal to 1. This is from our knowledge of our number theory. So mx plus ny is equal to this one. Now take mx plus ny is equal to a raised to power a, the generator of this, and we have taken this number on the powers of a. So this I can write a raised to power n x and a raised to power n y is equal to a raised to power n whole raised to power x, a raised to power n whole raised to power y is given as a, means a raised to power n whole raised to power x, and a raised to power n is nothing but identity. Identity raised to power y is equal to identity, so it is identity. It is a raised to power n x, a raised to power m x is nothing but a, and am, this is nothing but am raised to power x gives us the identity. Let us prior to this we must say H is a subset which is generated by H is a subgroup which is generated by am. Then am raised to power x gives us the a. Since a belongs to G and we prove that a belongs to H, thus G is a subset of H, and we know H is a subset of G. H is a subgroup, therefore H is a subset of G. And from these two results, we can say H is equal to G, and it is generated by a raised to power n. Thus, we prove that if G is a cyclic group generated by A, and order of G is n, then any number which is prime to n to the power A gives us the other generators. Thus, what we have proved here. And in the reverse process, we can prove the sufficient condition also. With the reverse process, we can, if we suppose H is generated by AM, then it is G is generated by AM, then we have to prove this reverse process. Taking the reverse process, we can prove this. So, thus we can find number of other generators of a cyclic group. One more theorem. one more theorem is that prove that every group of prime order is a cyclic one. Every group of prime order. Every group of prime order is cyclic. The converse of this theorem, think about the converse of this theorem. A group of prime order, every group of prime order is cyclic. Means a group having 3, 5, 7, 11 elements will be prime, will be a cyclic. Means it is a cyclic group, it is a cyclic, it is cyclic, it is cyclic, and all other prime numbers. So a group of prime number is always a cyclic one. This we have to prove. But a cyclic group, we are given a cyclic group, it need not be a prime order. Cyclic group, say, let us take two examples. 1 omega square is a group, and its generator is omega square, its generator. These two are generators. If A is a generator, then A inverse is also a generator. So omega is a generator, omega square is a generator of this cyclic group. So this group is of prime order. This group is of prime order, means it is a cyclic. Alright. But this is a cyclic group. This is a cyclic group, but its order is not a prime one. This is its generator are iota and minus iota. So this is of order 4. Order 4 is not a prime number. So a group, a cyclic group, order of every cyclic group of prime order, if the order of a group is prime, then naturally it will be a cyclic. Prime order means cyclic, but cyclic does not mean prime order. What we have proved. So our motto is to prove this. Prime order is a cyclic one. Means there will be a generator. So it is a prime order, means let us suppose P order of G, let us suppose order of G is equal to P. So P is order, it is not proper subgroup or group prime order. So P must be greater than 1. P must be greater than 1. So at least if A is a generator, prime order, A is a generator, A generates this cyclic group and A raised to power P means A generator having 2 elements, means order of A is greater than 2 or equal to 2 or more elements. Naturally, P is greater than 1. So, and its factor is P and 1 and P. So, let us suppose, on the contrary, order of A is 2, it is order of A, let us suppose order of A is n. And we know a group, a subgroup generated by A will divide the order of the group, means n divides P, but P is a prime number. P is a prime number and its divisor is 1 and P only. So n must be equal to P. N must be equal to P. So order of this element is n. So order of G will be n, will be equal to P. N is equal to P means order of prime order. It is generated by n element. It is cyclic. Therefore, it is a cyclic. This is the theorem. And last theorem. Last theorem that I would like to prove is if H and K are finite subgroup of a group G. H and K are subgroup of a finite group G. H and K are subgroup of a finite group G and are of order H and K. Order of H is order H and order of K is means number of elements in H is given by order H and number of elements in K is given by order of K. We may suppose M and N and any number, but simply we write here order of H and order of K. Then order of HK, we need to prove order of HK is equal to order of H and order of K upon order of H intersection K. This is the theorem, H intersection K. Now, we are given H and K are subgroup of a finite group. Say, this is a group, finite group. Order finite means order of G can be assumed is equal to N. Order of G can be assumed of a H and K are finite subgroup of a group G. This is finite, so let us say this is H, this is K. H and K are finite. What is HK? HK, elements of HK are such that we define the complex H such that H belongs to H and K belongs to K. Means HK is a complex of G. Need not be a subgroup. As we proved, but here H and K are subgroups. So let us see. HK are subgroups of a finite group and order of H is order of H and order of K is order K. Then order of HK means here HK is a set, is a subset rather to say, is a subset having one element from here operated by this. One operated by this one. These are the elements of say K1, K2, K3, K4, KR, etc. This element operated by these elements. Again, second element operated by these. All these elements belongs to HK. So we define HK as this one. Now, this is what? This is the intersection of H and K. Let us define C is equal to H intersection K. H intersection K. So C is a subset of K. C is a subset of K. Now, cosets related to C in K is order of number of cosets with respect to C in K is given by Lagrange's theorem. Using Lagrange's theorem, order of order of K upon order of C by Lagrange diagram. Means subgroup division, suborder of this group divided by order of C subgroups. H intersection K is a subgroup naturally. H is a subgroup, K is a subgroup. Therefore, H intersection K is a subgroup. And from Lagrange's theorem, order of K divided by order of C always gives us an integer. Is a property. So, total number of cosets related to C in H in K are say CK1, CK2, CKR, CKR, KM. Total number of in this. So, M is the division order of K divided by C are this one. So Cn, Kn are the coset, different coset related to C in H. So K, we know the theorem that union of all cosets means CK1 union CK2 and so on, union of CKN will be equal to K. This was the theorem. It means union of all cosets CKN n is equal to 1 to n. Union of all cosets related to that group gives us the Ki. So HK we can use n instead of I. I can write I is equal to 1 to n. That's it. So now HK will be equal to H union of C Ki. I is equal to 1 to n. This I can write union of I is equal to 1 to n HC Ki. And what is a C? C is a subset of K, C is a subset of H. So HC will nothing but H itself. So I can write this is union of I is equal to 1 to n and this is HKI. This is HKI means KI. Means HK1, HK2, HK3, HK1 union HK2 and so on union HKN. This union of all this. These are the cosets related to H with the elements of this K. So, first of all, we should try to prove that all these are distinct. All these are distinct. No two of them are equal. On the contrary, let us suppose HKI is equal to HKJ. HKI is equal to HKJ. Means HKI KJ inverse is equal to H. Kij KJ inverse is nothing but the element of K. Is the element of K. So HK is equal to H means K. If HK is equal to H means K is a part of that one. HK is equal to H. This is contrary. HK is not equal to KH. This is contrary to our supposition. Therefore, all these are distinct. And if all these are distinct, then order of HK will be equal to n times order of H. And n is nothing but, we prove that this one, order of K upon order of C and order of H. This I can write order of K, order of H is equal to, what is order of C? C is nothing but H intersection K. This is the order of H. This is the theorem we want to prove. And this is the last theorem related to subgroup that I have to prove. Thank you to all.